Hello everyone, welcome to Wix Ideas, and in this tutorial I'm going to be sharing with you how you can add a button that copies a site page URL. So let's say, for example, you're on this page and you want to be able to allow your site users to copy the site URL of this page, and you don't want them going to the tab of your browser, but simply by clicking on a button element, and that will easily copy the site URL. Then this is the right tutorial for you. Now this feature works for static pages or regular Wix pages, and it also works for dynamic pages and even all kinds of pages on Wix. But in this tutorial I'm going to be sharing with you how you can add this feature to your product page, which is where we're currently on right now. Now before we get started, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give this video a like, and also don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section if you have any questions. Alright, let's get started. Now the first thing I want to do is to add a button element. This is the button element that's going to allow us to click on and copy the site URL. So you can go with any of these button elements. The design is entirely up to you, so I'm just going to make this very simple design that I think will be good for this tutorial. So let's drag this section down a little bit and then add this button to this section so that I switch in the grid lines. Now the next thing I want to do is to change the text and icon of this button. Basically just the text is enough. So let's go ahead and say copy page URL. Now this is exactly what we want the users to see, and when they click on this, it's supposed to change the label to the site or page URL has been copied. Amazing. So the next thing we want to do is to add the functionality or the Velo code that is going to help us to make this functional. And to achieve that, we need to turn on our Velo dev mode. So head over to the dev mode here and then turn on dev mode. Once you do that, you're going to find this code section. You can go ahead and maximize it. Now this is the button ID here, because when you click on any of the elements, it's going to allow you to change the ID of the element. So if you click on this product page, you can see that the ID has changed. So let's click on this button element here and we can change the ID and say copy site URL. And then next, we're going to import two libraries that are going to be useful for this tutorial. The first one is the Wix location. Now the Wix location gives us information about navigating through the site. And then the next API that we're going to be using is the Wix window. Now the Wix window has a lot of features, but one of the features that we're interested in right now is actually the copy to clipboard API. Now this is going to allow us to copy the site URL to Clipboard. Now inside of our ready function, we're going to clear all of these comments and we're going to add an on-click event to our button element. So copy the site URL button ID, go over to this section, and then let's use the Wix selector to select that button and then add an on-click function to it. Now this is going to allow us to trigger this feature when we click on that button. Now inside of our on-click event, we want to be able to copy the site URL. But first of all, let us get what the site URL is. So let's create a variable and then let's call this the page URL. Now this variable is going to hold the Wix location.url, which is the current site or the current page's URL. Now let's go ahead and let's add this to console.log and see if it actually gives us the page URL. So let me go ahead and preview. Amazing. So when I click on this, it should give us a URL that has all this information, and this is because we're currently on the editor mode. But if we publish this site and we visit this page on a live site, we're going to try again and copy it and see how this responds. Amazing. So we are currently on this page, which is a product page boost, and if we right click on our mouse and go to inspect, we can navigate all the way to the console and we can go over to the info section. So this is basically where Wix code runs. So now when we click on copy page URL, you can see that we have a new prompt which gives us the site URL that we're currently seeing right now. Now we can try this out by going to a different product, which as you can see here is moisture. So let's go ahead and copy page URL. As you can see, that has given us the page URL. Then that means we currently know what our page URL is. So let's get rid of this console.log. And the next thing we want to do is to add this page URL to our clipboard. And then to do that, we need to use the Wix window. So the Wix window has a copy to clipboard function. And inside of this function parameter, we can add our page URL to it. Now this is enough for us to work with. But then what we want to do is that we want to change the label of this to say the page URL has been copied or page URL copied, something like that. So after we have added or copied our URL, we can add a .then method that we can use to add this functionality. So let's go ahead and copy again this selector for our button elements, and inside of the .then method, we're going to change the label of this button to say URL copied. Now you can add some emojis to it just to make it fun, and then what we're going to do is that this is going to stay exactly the same. So let's preview this, and then let's try to copy this and see how it's going to be. When you copy this, the label is going to change to URL copied, but we want to be able to change it back to the original label after a few seconds, maybe after 2 or 3 seconds. So let's go ahead and add that functionality. Now still inside of our .then method, we're going to add a set timeout function, which allows us to run certain piece of code after a few seconds. So what I want to do now is after 3 seconds, which is 3000 milliseconds here, you can always change this to match how many seconds you want. So 1000 milliseconds is 1 second and 3000 milliseconds is 3 seconds. So you can change yours to maybe 5000 milliseconds, or depending on what you want to do. And then after that, we want to be able to change the label back to what it used to be. So let's just copy this section and place it here. And then next, let's just go ahead and copy what the default is. So copy this placeholder or label here, and then let's bring it back to our code and place it there. Now this is going to change it back to copy page URL after a few seconds. So let's go ahead and publish this page, and then let's go ahead and also test it out in a live site. All right, so I have refreshed this page and I just want to show you how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in what is already in my clipboard. So as you can see, we have this copy page URL, which we got from when I copied the text from the button to the code. And what I want to do is to copy this page's URL. So let's go ahead and copy this. And after 3 seconds, the label is going to change back to copy page URL. And I'm going to go back to my notes, and I'm going to go to the next lines and paste in what I just copied. So as you can see, I've been able to copy the URL from the page and also pasted it here. Now let's try a different product name, which we have rejuvenate here. Now if we copy this page URL, this is also going to see URL copied, and then it's going to change back to copy page URL. Now let's go back to my notepad, and then let's paste it in again and see what is on my clipboard. Now you can see we have rejuvenate here. Now you can also decide to disable the button when you have just clicked on it, so that the user doesn't have to click on it so many times in order for them to know that it has been copied to clipboard. So to do that, we can head back to inside of our .then method, and we can also copy that button and bring it to the next line and simply disable it. So once you have disabled it, after they've copied the item, you want to copy this section and bring it to the set timeout so that we can enable the button back after 3 seconds. So let's just change this to enable. Now let's go ahead and publish and preview and view this on the live site. All right, so we are here right now, and when I click on this button, you can see it has been disabled, and then it has also copied the site URL. So let me go back to my notepad and paste that in again, and as you can see, that is the same URL from the page. Now let's just try a different product just to test it out again. Now we are on a different product, and when you click on copy page URL, you can see that that is disabled, and then now it is enabled. So let's go ahead and paste it in on our notepad and see if that works. So when you paste that in, you can see that it's exactly the same URL as on the page that we copied it from. So this is how you add a copy page URL to your Wix website. You can add this feature to any pages on your website. It could be a static page, a dynamic page. It depends on what you want it to be. But I hope this tutorial was very useful for you. If it was, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give this video a like, and also don't forget to turn on your bell notifications to be the first to know of future videos. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next tutorial.